Hey, welcome back to the Sale Free Cabin. The day after Christmas, JD and I are talking. We're doing some chores together, and I'm going to pick up where I left off with the possibilities of upgrading. So I went over some of the pluses last time, and I went over some of the minuses this time. So come check it out. So I got a lot of good feedback from that last video, and a lot of food for thought. Today I'm going to cover the minuses, but first I want to cover a plus, and that was the weight of the tractor. I mentioned is about 1,000 pounds heavier on the 2038, and with the wider tires, it's going to make the tractor a little bit more stable. And sometimes when I'm on this tractor, and it doesn't have to be a big incline, it could just be a little dip, and you could have some weight on the front end loader. It gets a little precarious. It feels like you're a little unsteady. Maybe it feels worse than it actually is, but there's a lot of times when I'm on here and it's just not that stable. So more stability would be a plus in my book. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty here. Some of the minuses, most outstanding one, and that's price. Certainly an upgrade to get something similar to what I have now with the 1025R. We're probably looking at $14,000 increase. With the tractor loader backhoe, and I was just to my dealer, he quoted me $34,000. Now you might be able to get a little bit better deal than that, but $34,000 is about the ballpark. The tractor itself, the 2038R, is around $20,000.
The loader is about $38.99. The backhoe is quoted at $89.25 for a grand total of $33,323. Now you could save yourself about $1,500 if you wanted to go to the 2032R, and it was about $1,500 less quoted to me by the dealer.
So the price is something that certainly came up in a lot of the comments. Christopher said that I'm sure that all subcontract owners sooner or later think about upgrading. I was thinking about the same thing a year ago. But when it came time to trade in, the dealership wanted to beat me up on a fair price. Christopher made a comment saying that he was thinking of upgrading a while back. He ended up keeping his tractor and then buying a cheaper non-green brand. So a lot of people commented on the price of the premium of the green, and I kind of look at it as I used to be a Windows guy when it came to computers many, many years ago. And in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, a friend of mine lent me his Apple laptop, and I borrowed it to edit some videos and do some other work on it. And since that point, I never looked back. I never bought another Windows machine, and I'm all Apple from this. The John Deere being the same thing, I'm in the John Deere ecosystem. My attachments, the quick attach. So I could have just as easily have gone to an orange dealer, got an orange tractor. At the time when I bought this, they had a good special going on, about 19,000 to get the tractor loader backhoe, and it was just the right moment for me. So now I'm in this ecosystem, and I think I enjoy it, I like it, and I'll probably stick with it. Another gentleman mentioned looking into the 3 or the 4 series, and I'm not sure if he just wanted me to compare them just to compare them, or to seriously look into purchasing one or look into that as a purchase. To me, the 3 and 4 series is out, and it has to do with all the attachments that I purchased. I made a great investment throughout the year, purchased a lot of attachments. I'm going to get a little more in depth in that in a little while. But if I went up to a 3 or 4 series, I would definitely make a lot of those obsolete for me. Another many people might consider a minus is the emissions. Once you go over 25 horsepower, and this tractor is technically like 23 and a half horsepower, you need to have a process done which is called regen. It's basically a special filter inside your engine compartment here that traps particulate matter from diesel fuel. And over time, if your tractor doesn't run hot enough or the idle at a high idle for a long period of time, that filter could get clogged up. John Deere says it's a seamless process that most times you don't have to do anything. Sometimes you can manually start this regen. There's usually a button on the dashboard. And sometimes if you do a lot of low idle work, forget about it, and that filter becomes clogged, well, that could be an added maintenance you might have to take back to your dealer and have them clean that out. So this is the configuration I use when I put my tractor in the shed for the night. And I fold the bucket as close as I can, and then I fold the backhoe back as far as it'll come into the tractor. And that usually leaves me maybe about a foot in front of the door of space. And if I get the 138R, as I said before, it's about 10 inches longer just in the tractor. I know the 270 backhoe uses the 3-point hitch to attach. So I don't know for sure, but I could imagine that the backhoe sticks out farther than this 260B backhoe. If anybody has the 2038R and they have this configuration, tractor loader backhoe, maybe drop me a little note to say just how long it is from front to back in this configuration, and it might help me decide. You know, I really don't want to build a new shed, so that's one more minus for me if it holds true. All right, attachments. As I mentioned before, if I went to a 3 or 4 series, most of these attachments would probably be obsolete, and I'd have to get something a little larger and more practical for that type of tractor. But moving up to the 2 series, 2038R, um, it might be actually beneficial for the post hole digger. It's going to have a little bit more horsepower at the PTO. It's also going to have more lift capacity on the 3-point hitch. So I haven't had it happen to me yet, but if that auger tends to bog down, get stuck on the ground, that extra 600 pounds of lifting force could prevent that from happening. I could probably go to a larger auger if I wanted to. Right now I basically use a 9-inch, but they do make a 12-inch and a 16-inch. So I would imagine the 12-inch would work better on a larger tractor. I don't think so much on my 1025R. So we're okay there. The snowplow, I think I could stick with the snowplow still. The rototiller, that one might be an issue. Um, it just depends what I want to use it for. If I'm going to reseed a lawn and plant a lawn, well, it's a 48-inch rototiller, and I believe I'll check it out, but I thought the width of the tires of the 2038R was 55 inches. So that's going to leave tire tracks, and the tiller is not going to cover those off. Maybe if I had an offset tiller, you could at least offset one tire track, but for now, that could be an issue for me. The brush crusher, and if you're looking at the brush crusher here, let me uh, let me grab the camera. I just got a set of teeth for the brush crusher, and my next video is going to cover that, the installation and use of it. But I don't think that's going to cause any problem going to a larger tractor. Now down here, I got my box scraper, and that too is 48 inches. So it might be beneficial moving up to a larger box scraper. I could probably still get away using this one, but again, it's the tire track issue. And if we come over here, I have my carryall, and when I first made it, I made it thinking the capacity would be for about 650 pounds, and I can still use it. The width of it is just right around 42 inches, somewhere there. And if I did upgrade to another tractor, I could probably kind of remanufacture this carryall, make it wider and larger capacity. The brush hog. The brush hog is also 48 inches. I don't think that would be an issue using that. It's not going to create any issues with the tire tracks. You could go to a larger brush hog, but these are pretty pricey. I kind of sometimes wonder if I made the right decision purchasing one to begin with. I'm kind of torn on a flail mower, which I thought might have been best for me. So I might sell this one day, and we'll see down the road. But for now, the brush hog would not be an issue if I upgraded. Right now, I still use clamp-on forks. I probably will get a set of dedicated forks eventually, and those would not create an issue either. Inside here, I'm storing my tooth bar. and that was made for a 53-inch bucket. And of course, the 2038R has a 57-inch bucket. I don't know if putting the tooth bar on a larger bucket would create any issues. I don't know if this is like a factor, if this takes a lot of the stress, but I don't think it would. I think I could still put a 53-inch on a 57-inch bucket and there wouldn't be any problems. My LED lights. I don't know if you saw the video when I made these LED lights last year, but they're held in by magnets, so I can take them with me and add them to a new tractor if I get. Also, the rake that I just got recently is a 60-inch rake, so it would probably be more suited for a larger tractor.
Agility and squeezing into small areas. The turning radius on this 1025R is great. And also, it's narrow. So in this instance, when I'm coming out of my garden, I was kind of trapped in there moving the chicken coop. If I had the 2038R right here, I would not be able to get out. I'd have to take those posts out to get out. Same with this instance, I'm kind of squeezing between a little light pole and the house here. And there's many times where I'm going through the woods and it's a pretty tight area also. I've yet to tear off my lights, but I read about a lot of folks that tear off their turn signal lights and their hazard lights. So going larger might actually limit me to some of the things I do around my house.
Some people brought up the mid-mount mower, and I didn't go with that option when I purchased this. I don't have a lot of grass to cut. The grass in southern Ohio sometimes gets out of hand because there might be about a month between my visits down there in the summertime. So that's why I went with the brush hog, thinking that if things get out of hand down there, I could take the brush hog, clean it up, and then go over it with the riding mower. Um, but around here, I can buy a riding mower for about 900 bucks, 1,000 bucks, or half that price used. Um, get quite a few years out of it, and it was almost the half the cost or a quarter of the cost of the mid-mount mower. So one other person commented and said that they went with the 1025R over 2038R because of the horsepower going to the DEF fluid, the DEF fluid, and he said he'd have to carry higher insurance when he traveled with it. So there's a lot of factors to consider. I certainly take a long time when I'm looking at something. I guess if you've watched my videos, you might have known that it took me about 20 years to buy a tractor. I've always looked at them in the past. I wish I would have bought one 20 years ago. And I'm going to continue looking into things. Right now, the big thing for me is certainly that cost. So there's some things happening coming up here in the next couple months. In the summertime, I'm going to retire come August, and that's going to be a little factor. I've been doing some work for people, and if I can increase that, maybe that would push me over the edge of upgrading. Just offset the income. If I can do that, I'll definitely upgrade. So for now, I'm going to hang on to her. She does much more than I thought, and I'll still probably drive by the John Deere dealer from time to time. I'm going to keep doing research, watching what they have coming out. I'm not going to discount any possibilities. I think if I would have bought a 2025R right off the bat and got the bigger tires, I probably wouldn't be looking. But now that I got a 1025R, and if I'm going to move up, I would look up to the 32R to 38R. So that's where we're at right now. I appreciate everybody watching and your comments. They're always helpful. Not just these last couple videos, but all the videos I put out, especially with someone new to the tractor world like me. So I hope you like these videos. Subscribe if you like them. Subscribe if you don't like them. And keep an eye on us. Take care.